Today, we'll speak about thought, the variable I discussed earlier, which plays the most crucial role in deciding what we perceive as reality. When we are going to speak about thought, definitely at the same time, we are actually going to speak about reality, because Sydney Banks has wonderfully, succinctly defined what is reality. He says that we experience our thoughts within our consciousness as reality. Isn't it just mind-boggling? There are so many books written on reality, so many movies done on reality, and here is just one sentence which actually lays out the secret to reality. When Sydney Banks says, we experience our thoughts within our consciousness as reality. Nothing else. We don't experience the outside world as reality. We don't experience our relationships as reality. We don't experience our friends, events, circumstances that is happening outside as reality. We don't. We can't. If you say why we don't, we can't. We just can't. We are made in that way. Just like human beings have not been given wings, though Charlie Chaplin famously in his movie The Great Dictator, in that famous speech, the last speech that he gives in the movie, he famously says that, look up, Hannah, look up. The soul of man has been given wings, and at last he is beginning to fly. He is flying into the rainbow, into the light of hope. Look up, Hannah, look up. Such a wonderful statement. Yes, the soul of man has wings because it's pure energy. But this material body, what we call ourselves in front of the mirror, wrongly, mistakenly, has not been given wings. Just like that, we cannot ever experience the outside world as reality until and unless that same outside world is coming to our perception via thought. Thought is the bridge. Thought is the missing link. Thought is the bridge between the formless and the form. The formless and the form. The moment we have any thought in our brain, that is the moment the principle of thought takes a form, a specific form in our brain, which we may also refer to as thinking. The job of consciousness becomes that to make us aware of that thought. The job of consciousness is to make the thought seem real to us. If it is a sad thought, we feel sad. If it is a happy thought, we feel happy. If it is an angry thought, we feel anger. If it is a jealous thought, we feel jealousy. So wonderfully it is said, Sydney Banks says, we experience our thoughts within our consciousness as reality. And that frees us. That frees every one of us. Because no more we learn that we are not dependent on anybody outside of us. Nothing outside of us can help us. Nothing outside of us can hurt us. Nobody outside of us can help us. Nobody outside of us can hurt us. that gives us immense freedom. Just to realize that we are self-dependent. We are self-independent. The outside world, it doesn't mean that the outside world actually does not exist. No, it doesn't mean that. I never mean that. The outside world can never come to us via thought. The outside world can never come to us minus the bridge or the missing link of thought. Now, thought being a formless energy, our intellect cannot perceive it. So our intellect perceives the form. And what is the form? The content of the thought. The principle of thought taking form in the moment in our brain, which we call thinking, we actually cannot perceive us. Though we can actually perceive that when we become much more attentive. We can see that there is a mental activity. That mental activity is thinking. Thought creates that mental activity called thinking. And whatever we are thinking, we are experiencing or we are feeling. So we can comprehend that there is a mental activity. But the moment there is that mental activity, already the content also has been formed. And since the content has a form, and our intellectual mind, our intellect, our brain can only comprehend the form, so we mistakenly believe that we are feeling the content of the thought. Never. We are never feeling the content of the thought. Because the content actually does not exist. Where is the content? In your brain? Can you find it? No. Even as the electromagnetic pulse, which the scientists can now see when there is a mental activity inside the brain, the scientists can only see the electromagnetic pulse occurring. That is the mental activity. That is the principle of spiritual thought taking form in the moment. Can the scientist find out the content of that electromagnetic pulse? No, it is not possible, because the content is non-existent. Because the content is pure illusion, pure mirage. And just imagine that we take the content to be true and we suffer. Take any person in the world who is mentally suffering, who is psychologically suffering, be it depression, be it bipolar, be it anxiety, be it anything else, hallucination, be it schizophrenia. There will be one common thing among all of them. They all take their thought content as truth. They all take their thought content as truth. A person suffering from depression may be going to the doctor for 10 years, 12 years, 15 years. Once or twice every month, sitting there for 1 hour, 2 hours, every sitting, every counseling session. No cure. Only coping. Only the person can cope. Some days his or her depression rises. Some days his or her depression lowers. But he or she is never out of the depression. Why? Because no one has told him or her that, look, there is no depression. It's all because you are taking your thought content to be true, which actually does not exist. It is non-existent. If you take an illusion to be true, definitely you are going to suffer. No one can save you from suffering if you take an illusion to be true. That's how we are made. So again, we experience our thoughts within our consciousness as reality. More to be discussed on this topic. Please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.